What's up, YouTube? Friday morning here on the 17th of August. There's no breeze. It's nice and muggy. I'm looking extremely red, which is weird. I haven't even been in the sun. Just very, very hot here. Loved some of your comments about what to call the show. Let me just bring that up quickly. I have my coffee this morning is a organic Mexican blend from a local organic store here. Let me just bring up some of your comments. And my mug is actually it's a mug that reminds me of something in the kind of a part of me that was in the past. Firstly, I've got Mango here, who passed away last month, which was really sad. He was almost like a human. There's Sylvia, my wife, and there's me being silly. And there's this photo here. I don't know if you can see that. There's me. Sylvia's holding up a little flower, but I'm miles away. Now, I was in Cork there on a course, but that summed me up. It was a constant anxiety in my life. I was constantly worried elsewhere, couldn't be present. Just really a deep fear. Just every day worried and fearful. Now, I like this mug because it reminds me of how I was and how I changed from working on myself. Sometimes when you change something, your new norm becomes the norm and you forget how you were. So, I mean, to the extreme, I've had people who I've worked on something that was really, really problematic. Let's say a huge pain problem, and I meet them and then they forget they even had it, that I've cleared it on the last call. I have to play the call and they're like, oh my god, yeah, which is kind of weird, right? But this one, it reminds me of how I was and how I'm so grateful for having invested in the time to work on myself, invested time it took to learn about this code that underlies consciousness, this code of a binary code of ones and zeros. So yeah, it's a good coffee. Let's look at some of the comments about what I can call this show. Someone said Quantum Express. That was Christina. I now get it. Sorry, I didn't see the O. And I said Quantum Espresso and laughed. That's good. Quantum Espresso. I only have a problem with quantum is, one of my advisors who's more on the business side of things, very, very serious. He says don't ever use the word quantum because it's used so much in new age and holistic therapies like quantum this, quantum that. This is based on quantum physics. No one really understands quantum physics, and I don't. And people cherry pick a little bit, so maybe I stay away from Quantum Express, although it's right up there. As in zero ground immediate expression. I like that. Very creative. I have Morten, my main man Morten in Norway. Bulletproof Energetics, Ewan Macchiato, A Cup of Knowledge with King Coffee, Questions and Coffee, Karmic Insights with Coffee. Man, Morton's just the man when it comes to creativity. A good friend. Where's my fucking Frappuccino? The Levata Healer. It just took it to a whole new level. I know Trung mentioned some. Oh wow, there's lots of people asking questions, which I really, really appreciate. I'm not sure yet, but we're getting there. Some really great comments. Okay, now. And it's funny on the organic side. I've always taken the opportunity to invest in organic products for myself, even when I haven't been able to afford everything. So I started buying organic in 1996, or there, maybe 98, I would say. Went full organic, and the reason why I did that was the most important one, and I actually started giving to the Soil Association in the UK, because I think farming, they look after their land, they look after the animals. I like to think of things having a certain energy to them, and I think that I've done a lot of experiments with dowsing and stuff. You don't have to believe that, but you kind of get a bigger spin of organic food. It's like it's got more life force to it, and that's a really interesting area. And I also used to do that, and the true story, I used to put like egg or cups and put an organic something underneath them and just pass my hand over them, and 10 out of 10 I could find out which pot. I used to do this with my ex-girlfriend, because the energy would change of the one with the fruit in weird stuff I used to get up to. But so I invested at that time. I thought that was a really good investment in my health, and I still do it today. Now there are people putting out papers saying, there's not much difference in the nutritional value of organic food and stuff. But if you look at those studies, they've been done into organic food that's been shipped from New Zealand, and so it's been on a flight and everything. But they highlight that maybe nutritional factors are pretty much the same with conventional farm food. But the one thing that is pretty much the importance of organic food is that they don't use pesticides and all the artificial stuff to grow it, and the meat hasn't got loads of antibiotics and steroids in. So I think that's been a good investment in my life. If I look back, I think that's excellent, and I'll keep going. And it's interesting enough, Monsanto was just found to be, I think it was criminally, that they've been hiding the cancer-causing effects of their weed killer, and the stuff that they use on the land for years, and that it's been a conspiracy inside their company. So their company's not there thinking about your health, and I've kind of known that since '98. So I'm not going to wait for them to for it to come out that we all trust Monsanto or these huge food conglomerates to look after our health. No, I'm going to look after my own, and that's me. Yeah. So I buy organic, and when I buy organic, I don't just buy any organic. I look at the certification, because now there are organic companies coming up everywhere. You need to do due diligence. Funny story from back in the day, when I was buying organic food, I used to go to this organic butcher on the King's Road, called Blue, I think, in this supermarket. It was really nice. I knew the butchers. We always used to talk about how the food was produced and everything, and the liver at the time was per gram or whatever, it was more than gold in that shop, because it's so expensive. And Nigella Lawson, the cook shop there, and Bernie Ecclestone's wife standing next to me, I remember. And he always used to, I'd go, oh, and he'd go, I'll give it to you at cost. So I got everything cost. If you're watching now, those two butchers, they were top guys, and really in it for the making a difference in society. So very, very cool guys. I'm kind of, the theme for today is investment. Now, I've been doing, I study investment. Now, when I say I study investment, I'm trying to understand investment, because I was listening to a podcast today and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what he's talking about. But as anything, you don't know, and bit by bit, if you keep with it, you start to understand more. And even just listening to someone that intelligent, sort of you absorb his intelligence, so it's going in on some level. So I think that if I look at myself now and say when I was 20, I would have given up. And so that's come with the experiences. Sometimes you just keep doing it, and you're going to have days where you feel like you're learning nothing. And Tim Ferriss' work on how you learn, you have sometimes where you think you're learning less, and then you have a spike and you understand more. So I wanted to play you something from this investment to show you how my fascination in psychology and human behavior, and I think all these podcasts are really based on that, is human behavior and how to improve it. Just listen to this. I hope you can hear it. I'll explain in a moment.
That lens to the market today. So if you came up in that tradition, and I think you believe in overreaction as a source of opportunity.
So he just said, he's talking about overreaction in the market. And so I'm like, overreaction? What does that mean?
What does that mean today? So, I mean, I'd love to read your paper because that's a perfect setup for how I look at the world, which is, to me, the last sort of remaining anomaly is human behavior.
So he says the last remaining anomaly in investment is human behavior. What I'll do is I'll put the link and the time in the extra information below this video, because it's a great podcast on just listening to really smart people. Okay, so he's saying human anomaly, and I'm like immediately, oh yes, human behavior, psychology, it's where it's at.
Every other anomaly gets exposed and are below. I say, as long as humans are participating in markets, there will be roles for active management. It will just become probably fewer and far between and waiting for those episodes.
It says as long as humans are in investment, there's going to be opportunities there to manage them or wait for them to overreact. When they overreact, which they always do, human behavior is predictable to it's always the same. It's so difficult to change. In cycles, when everyone starts to buy, people get greedy. It's called the greed cycle. Everyone jumps on board, and then when it starts to drop, people sell because they're fear. So it's greed and fear. And the smart people know that when everyone gets greedy, they need to sell. When everyone, like the herd is buying more, and then when everyone's selling is the time to buy. Nam Lee, my good friend and advisor and overall guru, top man, he once said, Rob, with investment, the one thing that he understands is psychology. So when he's investing in a project, he invests in the people, and he gets to know the people and what are they like. That's the most important thing, and also that he understands psychology is always the same. So in the crypto market, everyone at the moment is selling, it's rubbish, nothing works, the narrative is that way. You just wait, it's going to go soon and start to rise. That's my opinion. And then everyone's going to be and start buying when it goes expensive, and it will come down again. As in everything, there are cycles. So let me just continue with this.
Josh Wolf was on, and he had that 100%, 0%, 100%. Like I sort of say, I'm 100% sure people will overreact.
So this guy says, I'm 100% sure people will overreact.
I have 0% idea when or why.
I have 0% I know when or why. 0% knowledge of, 0% chance of knowing when that'll be.
And I'm 50% confident I might be able to exploit that.
And I'm 50% confident that I'll be able to exploit that. So 100% sure that people will overreact. 0% sure why or when, but that he'll know. But it's that's his thing. He's waiting for the overreaction. He knows it will come.
But what's interesting about the overreactions, and why, as we'll talk about some of the sectors that I pay more attention to, is if you look at some more prosaic old line industries.
Okay, that's enough. I hope you could hear that. I'm playing around with the mic and everything. Just I'll get more streamlined with this. But what he also mentions a Navy SEAL who's an investor now, is one of a very well-known investor that this guy knows, and he says that he prepares. That's where he spends all his time preparing for the opportunity. Now the opportunity is going to come because people overreact. So if you know the psychology, now psychology, people don't like to prepare. So preparing takes effort. I work with an SAS, ex-SAS soldier in the gym. When I was at Chelsea, he worked on security. Well, I've worked with a number of guys, but this guy in particular. And I asked him, I said, what do you think makes the SAS so amazing? And he said, preparation. And I've maybe told this story before, but he said that before an operation, they'd have a big blackboard and they'd prepare for every possible outcome. And they do like a flow chart. Like, what if we land on the roof? What if it's sunny? What if it's raining? What if it's windy? What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? And so the same goes for investment. The same goes for business. You need to. It's about preparing. So what I'd like to do is I take that information, I apply it to myself. What I know is I'm good at what I know, and so I prepare by getting better at what I do. And I also know that I'm okay at talking shit to camera. I don't prepare that much, but that's my skill set. I've been doing that for a long time. What I also take from the podcast is I will never be as clever in investment as this guy. And it seems like, as in most things, the more you learn, the more you realize you have no idea. So that's like me trying to play ice hockey and I've never used ice skates before. I'm listening, I'm preparing for as much as possible I can know a little bit, so that I'm not completely dumb when there's an opportunity, but I know how little I know. So that's important. What I also understand is this guy is super smart. I know that I can help him. I know that I know his mind and his mind computer better than he knows investment. So I know my place, and I know that I need to prepare to become better and better at what I do and not spread myself too thinly. So with the investment, I'm listening to this, but I'm really, part of it is just helping me to become better at what I do, but also I need to understand a little bit about investment so that if there's an opportunity, I can possibly take it. So I'm kind of preparing, if that makes sense. And this brings me to my biggest investment, and you being on here, it probably you're going to have an interest in improving yourself. Now that's the as everyone says, that's the best investment you can do. I was just cooking some soup. So Sylvia left me message on how to prepare the soup. So while I was doing the soup, I was listening to this investment podcast. So I'm a bit dyslexic, well, quite a lot dyslexic. So I like to do multiple things at once. Otherwise, the stuff won't go in. I need to be doing something while I listen to it. I've explained that before. That's a good thing to do if you have a very fast mind. Play something. It's going to go in while you're doing something else. Another thing, she this is a stupid joke, but she messaged me saying, can you take the carrot, the butternut squash, the leek, and the shot? So she said shot instead of shard, and I laughed my head off. But little things please little minds, eh? Actually, I want a little mind, less mind as possible. The more I work on having less mind or being mindless, the more I laugh at things that Lima, my little baby girl, laughs at. So I just find simple things really funny. So a shot, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but I messaged back saying, do you want me to put a shot in there? Boys jokes, but simple minds, simple things please simple minds. And the more I've worked on investing myself, the more things I find the simple things are the most wonderful, and that's come from investing in myself. I'm not after a Lamborghini or anything like that. Sunrise, sunsets, they're far more satisfying. So when you take the time every day to connect with yourself internally, and then you know, sit there and go, okay, what's coming up for me now? What am I thinking about? Well, you might have a thought of, I'm not doing enough in my life, or I should be doing more, or I'm useless, or this or that. Now you can write those down or hold them in your head. Now if you meditate, they would say just let it go. Like, that's just a wasted opportunity, because that's coming back. Excuse me. So that's coming from an old technology, meditation. So what you want to do is you have that thought, then you look for the underlying causal factor using your internal GPS and find out what it is, strengthen it, and then you come back to the baseline, and it will be the same or different. Now if you've done it right, it will be different. It will be gone, or it will be like much less, and you just keep doing that, and that's the skill. It's so simple. I just realized I have to do a video on strong or weak. I will do that. Apologies, I haven't done it today. And just on that meditation front as well, I don't know if you've seen what's his name, Russell Brand, the comedian actor. I really like him. He's been very outspoken for legalizing drugs in the UK, and making addiction, doing a lot for mental health and addiction. I think he's really cool. He's very funny. He seems to become a little bit addicted to spirituality, but he kind of does things in extremes, but that's cool. I understand. And one of the things I noticed is he did a video on Twitter recently where he's showing you how he does Kundalini yoga, Kundalini meditation, or yoga type, some sort of meditation. So that's cool, anything that gets people to work on themselves, going inwards. But what struck me was he kind of got this white robe around him, and he's grown his hair like ponytail and a beard, and he looked like Jesus. And I find a lot of, there's an identity that comes with spirituality, where people, guys, I see this quite a lot, they start to, look like Jesus, and like they're so spiritual, and it makes them feel good that they're so spiritual. I understand that, and that's cool. I'm kind of neutral to it. What I just saw is you don't need to be Jesus. You don't need to wear Jesus clothes to do meditation. So I understand that maybe he's connecting to the vibe, and whatever reason, I'm cool with it. But what I would say is there's a lot of people, you don't need to look, wear robes and grow your hair long and have a long beard to be spiritual. You can wear a black Zara cheap t-shirt and jeans and connect inwards. I'm just saying that we don't necessarily need to go back 2,000 years to be spiritual. We're here right now. This is reality as we know it, and you connect within. You can connect within, if you're rolling, doing jiu-jitsu, or you're drinking a pint or whatever. You don't need to be spiritual, is what I'm saying. So I'll put the link in below for that podcast. Really good podcast on investment. If you like the video, smash up that like button, subscribe. You're still here. It's a long podcast, but I want to do longer podcasts. And if you have any questions, or let me know what you think about some of the things I said, I'd love to know. And I will talk to you guys real soon. Cheers.